What's up, guys? We're here at Venice Beach. I'm B.
I'm Alex.
We're the Quantum Alchemists, and get ready for the purple pill.
That's right.
With all these religious traditions and systems, they're all pointing to the same thing, right? And a lot of these, you'll find a lot of similar stories in these ideologies where, like, for example, the Adam and Eve story, right? In the Adam and Eve story, Eve eats the fruit and gives it to Adam. They sin, and they can become degraded. Their consciousness becomes degraded from this Eden consciousness down to the level of a human that is sinful. And so there's that change. And then in the Anunnaki story, in the Sumerian text, the Anunnaki come down here from another planet, and they find a being here that they splice his DNA and create a slave race to mine their gold for them, because they need the gold to replenish the ions in their atmosphere for their long trek on planet X back out into space. That's the story of the Sumerian text. So in the deep past, humanity was changed, right? We know this from these traditions. They're trying to tell us the same thing in their different ways of doing it. So humanity's DNA, if you really look at our DNA, we have a space for extra strands of DNA.
Right, the ghost DNA.
Yes, the ghost DNA. 44 plus 2 is what we have. 44 plus 2 chromosomes. You know, like there's things like the Tool song, 46 and 2 is what this is talking about. It's about the upgrading of consciousness, which creates new strands of DNA, which upgrades your DNA.
It's your activation.
It's your activation, your enlightenment, opening your third eye, becoming Buddha.
Aligning your Kundalini, right?
The Kundalini awakening, Christ consciousness. You know, the Kundalini is the third eye, right? Like, it's like your chakra system is cleared, and up to your third eye, where your third eye awakens and it opens and you're enlightened, right? It's all in these stories. There's a correlation, there's a common thread in all these different stories that ideologies have been built around that have been separating us, right? But the knowledge of God is very similar if you really dig deep into the mystic teachings. You know, you see like the Gnostic teachings, the Nagamati, the Cathars. There's a lot of things that were left out of the ideology of Christianity that was created. Helicopter confirmation again.
Again, the chopper confirmation.
Chopper confirmation does not lie. So these stories are all pointing to the same thing, and we just want to really share this information with you guys so that you understand, like, there are puzzle pieces out there, right? And you look at like the Tower of Babel. In the story of the Tower of Babel, all of the languages were confused, right? It was God was angry, and because they're trying to build a tower to heaven.
Language is a true separation,
and the language itself is a true drawback, because we really used to communicate with energy, and language is a barrier to our energy, because we can lie with our language. We can't lie with our energy and our body language.
That's right.
And but language itself in the story of the Tower of Babel was confused. Like, there's all these separated languages, and when this happened, the knowledge was separated too. The knowledge was spread through all these different ideologies and with different languages. All of a sudden, they couldn't communicate with each other anymore.
Confucius says.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying Confucius.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like going back through history. When you piece all these puzzle pieces together, you kind of see how it all kind of got fragmented. And our minds have been captured in these ideologies that make it easy for us to be controlled in groups. You know, like, there's a bunch of Christians, and you can kind of get a good idea of what their overall beliefs are, so they're easier to control in this group of ideologies. And it works with social ideologies too, the LGBTQ movement. Don't come at me, I'm just giving an example.
Don't forget the plus.
I'm just giving an example. How ideologies can capture you into a certain set of ideals,
or a group of people,
a certain set of standards, categories, and it's a box. It's creating an identity box around you,
which to where it's a silo.
And you never really find yourself. You find your group identity as a Christian, or I'm a lesbian. I
am too.
Yeah, I love baseball. You know, like it's these are little micro things that have been planted in society to capture your mind and your identity and get you to identify with things that aren't really you. And then you never really figure out who the fuck you are, because you're getting pulled by all these ideologies that kind of say the same thing, but then this one says that if I don't believe this one, I go to hell forever. So that's scary, and then I'm not good enough for that God's love, And
now I'm not good enough.
and then it
Always
keeps you,
falls short.
and it's the degradation, because that's the trick. That's the devil's greatest trick, was to convince you that you don't have value, was to convince you that you're not good enough for God's love. That was the devil's greatest trick, and that's one of the things that you find when you really open up your heart to love, and you see everyone as another version of yourself, and that's the game changer. And that you don't need a church for that. You don't need a mosque. You don't need an ideology. You just need to get out into the world and really
Engage.
take in the sunshine, look somebody in the eye, and you'll see that version of you in them. And if you really are looking for it, and it's just like little things like this, just realizations of everyday stuff. Your blessings are infinite. Like, you wake up in a bed, if you live around here in LA, chances are you're waking up in a bed with a roof over your head. You've got food, you got running water, you've got a toilet that'll flush away your waste when you go, so you don't have to smell it all the time. That's a big perk. You go around different places in the world and it smells like shit 24/7. So it's like, be mindful of these little things. There's food always ready for you in the grocery store. You don't have to go out and forage for food. You've got to kill for your food. And it's just being grateful.
Yeah,
and
we'll go into the pluses and minuses of that, but still.
But like, you know what I'm saying, though, right, man? Like our blessings are abundant, and once you tune into this and the interconnected of everybody, and the oneness, you don't need a church. You just know, and God touches you in that way, where it's like,
if you can find a good church,
yeah, I'm definitely not discouraging anybody from their life path, but it's the recognition of self in others is the true religion, and it's why Christ said, love your neighbor as yourself, because your neighbor is yourself. And then being grateful, that's how you love God. Christ said two commandments, right? Love your neighbor as yourself, and love God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind, right? It's the chakra system if you really want to get deep in it. But you do that by showing gratitude. You show up every day, you acknowledge God's here. You acknowledge God, right? You acknowledge Him with the sun. Like, you see the sun and you're grateful for the sunshine. Like, it's little ways like that you show love to God, and that's it. That's and you don't need an ideology. You don't need a church. You just need to come to a state within yourself of love, loving yourself and loving others. And that's the religion.
And it really starts with loving yourself, because you can't love somebody else unless you have true love for yourself. I'm sorry, like you can tell people you love them and stuff like that, but until you show yourself true love, like, it's very hard to show love for others, because you're not starting with yourself, and you can lie to yourself, but you can't lie to source, right? So, and again, like, there's a lot of little things, there's a lot of little subtle subconscious things that we do that and I'm not one to preach, because I know I'm guilty of it. I still smoke, every now and then, and I know I shouldn't. And so that's just one of the ways that we show ourselves, that we do ourselves a disservice,
Yeah, we're definitely not trying to preach. We're not trying to say we're perfect and we have all the answers, because we're still searching. And that's the thing about life, is like, we're always searching. The search never ends. Like, it's like, the search ends when you give up on life, right? Like, otherwise, we're always learning. We're always getting lessons. We're getting tests. It's our character, right? We're building this character in this video game, and it's all about always trying to make that character better.
Yeah, level up.
Yeah, just keep leveling up, and that's the desire you have to have for life, to really get the most out of it. I think is to have to shift that perspective of, oh no, I have to go to work, to I get to go to work. I get to interact with people, and you're going to become a lot more pleasant. Your energy is going to rise as you start to see this in your everyday life, being grateful for little things, and I touch the trees, I walk on the grass with my bare feet, like, to touch the earth and to touch the nature, and that's the level I'm willing to go to.
Yeah.
And it's as far as you want to take it, and it's like, just find love. I think that's the biggest lesson, and that's the mission of the alchemist, is to alchemize energy into love. Like, no matter if it's this negative energy sent at you, people don't like you, like,
who
cares? Yeah, exactly. But like, if you get caught up in the opinions of others, it's about alchemizing that energy and that give a fuck about whatever thing.
I try not
into love, and try not to look at them.
It's not personal
in a negative way either, because like it's
it
in a lot of ways it's just yourself at a different level of understanding. And just come to that place of
Just know if people loved you, they wouldn't be jealous or envious of you. They would be happy for you, and they would cheer you on, and they would want to see you go even higher. That is a person who's really on your team.
yeah.
You know?
I mean, a lot of this is team building, right? Like, because we are the people we hang around with. That's another thing you have to be mindful of. This is your energy and the people around you. If there's people around you that leave you feeling drained when you're done talking to them and you don't have a good time, or they're always got problems to dump on your lap and they're asking for your opinions, they're asking for your advice, right? They're always coming to you for advice, but then they don't take your advice. And it's like, that's people taking your energy. It's just being mindful of that stuff too. It's like, and how you treat, if you're one of these people that are doing this type of shit, realize that you're an energy vampire. You have these subconscious patterns within you that get you to try to steal people's energy. And it's that's a lack of self-love too, you know, you're always trying to find someone's energy to take to give you sympathy for your problems. So everyone's got a friend like that, right? Where it's a guy's always got problems, man. This guy's always got problems.
I always got problems too, but I try not to give those problems the energy so that they go away, and taking those problems and looking at them as lessons, right? Because there's something to learn from all of these things. I think that the more you experience things, the more you just take them in. Oh, there was something I needed to walk away from this experience with something here today. What is it? And this is how I do every single thing. Not every day of my life, but every single moment of my life is what is the lesson to learn while I'm in this scene? Because every time I go to a new part of reality, it's a different scene. It's like, you know, director's cut, you know, and then action when you go into walk in another room, and you're always on set. That's why it's called the what is it called, the
world's a stage.
The world's a stage, right?
Yeah.
And so you're always on camera, and you're always, you know, being observed, and you're always being, you know, accounted for in terms of what you're doing. Because even though we as people aren't conscious of our doings, our subconscious is, and so is the other realm that isn't visible to our eyes. They're taking note, and we have a lot of help to help us move things forward and get things done for the right reasons. If you have the right intentions, you will accomplish your goals, but you have to come at it with a purity of heart, and you can get there. If you come at it with some fuck shit, if you come at it with some sort of ill will or intent, you know, deceit, some sort of, like, you know, selfish reasons, you're gonna get yourself caught up in something that you really don't want to mess with. And I don't wish that upon anybody, because I've seen how ugly it can get.
Reality is a mirror, you know, and if you keep getting situations presented to you and you keep reacting the same way, you're going to keep getting the same lesson. Like, the lesson repeats until it's learned. And a lot of us are kind of self-fulfilling prophecies, and I have not, you know, I've been guilty of it too in the past of attracting. We attract the things that we think about. We attract the things that we deserve in a lot of ways. And see, look at that, Siegel for confirmation, right?
Yeah.
He's confirming. Yeah,
That's the third time today.
Stop being on your bullshit. Like, you're bringing the problems to yourself. And you just call a spade, man. It's real easy once you really step through. It's like, you're just honest. I don't ever lie about anything. I'll be honest with people, and, you know, sometimes it's something they don't want to hear, but like, when you're in authenticity is the highest vibration that we can embody, right? At least by scientific research says, right?
Because it's the one that you hold the least amount of baggage.
Well, it's self-love. It's what it is. Authenticity. What it boils down to is true self-love true authenticity is self-love, because you're not willing to compromise yourself
For glory.
and you're not trade your passion for glory. Don't lose your grip on the themes of the past.
Yeah. I had the tiger, baby.
Yeah.
Interesting how it all comes full circle.
Yeah, it did. But yeah, it's just authenticity is just, you're not willing to compromise yourself for anything. You're going to be you 100% of the time because you love yourself, and you're not going to compromise you for anything. So once you get into that mode, then you're honest. You don't need to lie. You're not hiding anything, right? The liar is somebody who has something to hide. I don't have anything to hide. I won't fucking bullshit you. if you're on some shit, I'm gonna tell you you're on some shit. And it's just when you're 100% authentic with yourself and with others, that it literally it's so much easier to live that way.
For sure.
We're not hiding anything. There's no masks. There's no shadow that is keeping us. There's gonna be a shadow, right? We have to implement our shadow. We have to integrate our shadows. But
and to that I'll add, you will see the shadow when you begin to bring out the fuck shit, because the shadow will represent the fuck shit, because the shadow is very familiar with fuck shit, and my shadow is not happy with it, because I had to slay that guy, and so when I pick up on it, it triggers me in a way that I'm like, okay, the gloves are coming off, now what's up?
No, I had one of those moments yesterday where my shadow creeped in. Like I was telling you about it on the way over here. You know, I post these videos on my social media of me going through my healing experience, and it's purging, right? It's energetic purging. I'm crying. I'm dealing with my pain, my inner pain, and I have these like. Once you get really deep into the self healing, you're gonna experience this like. It almost isn't even like tears, right? It's just like almost like convulsing with energy. Like my heart fills up with this sadness and pain, and then I just transmute it and I release it. But it's different from crying. I don't want to call it crying, but like this is what like purging. Yeah, you start purging and you get rid of all your fuck shit, right? And
I did that just the other day.
But it's just part of energy work. It's part of understanding like your body and what it entails. Like it's not just a physical shell. There is a spiritual body, an energetic body, and the deeper you get into spiritual practices, you'll understand.
This is gonna sound really dumb, but now I get Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah. A whole fuck ton of people that are ready for the truth. There's a whole fuck ton of people that know we've been lied to, but they also know they don't want to get caught in these crazy Q cults or whatever, you know, like down these Q rabbit holes, which is probably a CIA psyop of bullshit.
Or some agency.
Some kind of true alphabet agency. I mean, the alphabet agencies are permeating the conspiracy sphere with bullshit, so that you're
just
always
to distract you.
It's a distraction to keep you in a circle. You don't ever find the consciousness within you. You keep searching for this alternative version of truth.
Right.
Like I said, Matrix sponsored version of the truth.
You look everywhere else except for where you should be looking.
Yeah, and I think I think we can reach people that way. To keep you in the conversation, brother. Like we can reach people that way because I think there's a lot of people that are on the cusp. They're on the brink. They just need that little push over the edge. And if we can provide them with information that we've gleaned from our experience, like searching these rabbit holes and collecting all these breadcrumbs. You know, like I've been collecting breadcrumbs since 9/11, and knowing that what they told us that day was bullshit, but then it took me down these rabbit holes where I was like stuck for a decade, just chasing my tail in conspiracy rabbit holes. And I accumulated a lot of knowledge, but what it did is it built my discernment for bullshit. Like, because there's a lot of bullshit, and the truth hits you on a different level. And what we want to do is bring you this type of truth, this gut truth, not this like, oh, you know, fucking unsubstantiated stuff. Like we can't prove to you that reptilians exist like 100%, right? Maybe we can send you down some rabbit holes, but like we want to give you proof of like stuff like the economic system is a perfect place to start. Alex has cut his teeth trying to find solutions in that sphere, and it's a big problem, and it's a big place where people don't understand.
That's where it starts, because where your attention goes is where your energy flows, right? But if you can't afford to pay attention, then how are you ever going to learn this stuff? Many of you have 2-3 jobs, have kids, have families. You know, like, when are you going to have the time to even start to care? You're like, I'm so far behind on everything. Like, honestly, I want to hear you, but I really just don't care. I don't have time or the bandwidth to pay attention.
And what we've done with all of our research, all of the cavalcade of knowledge that he has accumulated on his terabyte drives, like, we have enough knowledge to where we can take these breadcrumbs for you and bake the bread, so you don't have to spend all this time that you don't have searching down these rabbit holes, not knowing if it's true or not. We're going to bake the bread for you and give you bread, because the people who've been making your bread have been making you moldy fucking garbage, so that you never up level in life, so that you never like reach beyond your base level of consciousness, when there's a whole world out there that you're not aware of, that we can assure you exists. And if you guys just come along with us for the ride and take the purple pill, I can guarantee you that if we don't change the world between me and this guy, we're at least going to change a few minds and enlighten you to some things that maybe you don't know about, and to give you solutions that I can guarantee you nobody else has.
I would just say, like, even if you just discard like 90% of what we say, and you say, you know what, maybe there's about 10% of that that's actually like, if you just take on that 10% and you start there and you expand from that, you'll get the 90% that's missing. So it's just about just taking that step to the ledge, you know, right before you take that leap, because it's going to be scary. It's going to mean you're going to have to accept truths that you maybe aren't ready to accept right now, but it's so blatantly obvious that it can no longer be ignored.
No.
So I recommend that, like, the more that you ignore these things, the more painful the experience is in 3D, unfortunately, because it's like your reality is telling you, hey, you need to acknowledge this, and the more that you ignore it, the more pain it's going to bring you. So,
well, it was like you were saying in the Talking to Strangers episode, which you guys, there's a link below in the description for the episode that Alex and I did, where we really go pretty deep into some of the stuff that he's doing. So like we were saying in the podcast, right? Like, there's all these warning signs going on. There's all these warning signs.
Just like that.
Confirmation, bro. How many confirmations we had? Dude, we had the 2 choppers. Get to the chopper. We had 2 choppers. We had the seagulls multiple times. We got the beep beeps over here. But yeah, when there's all these warning signs going off in society, in the world at large, AI is coming. Increase your value. Get knowledgeable about crypto. You know, the money system is bullshit. Like, all these warning signs, right, to pay attention. And you guys feel this. We were talking about the shift in consciousness. We all feel it. Like, it's palpable in the air. Something's coming. It's been hanging in the air ever since COVID. We knew something. That was just the introduction to the changes in society.
Yep.
Right.
That was the start of it. That was on your marks, get set, go.
That was their catalyst, because the people that run this place understand energetic shifts and where we are in this system, right? Like, this system, like, we're in Kali Yuga. We're in this.
I'm pretty sure we entered some sort of plasma cloud in space.
Yeah.
Which is, like, also adding to the gamma radiation that we're experiencing on top of this X-class solar flares that we're getting.
I mean, we're at the end of the age of Pisces. We're entering the age of Aquarius. We had the Mayan calendar like 12 years ago ended. So it's this, like, time period, this of a couple decades.
It wasn't the end of the world. It was the end of the era.
Yeah, it was the apocalypse, the lifting of the veil.
Lifting of the veil, right?
And
like
that's
this.
Yeah. And so all these cultures, they're all pointing to this time. So everyone that's running society, people that run society understand spirituality. They understand what this place is. They understand the energy, how energy works. And they knew that this was coming. This big shift in consciousness was coming, because it's this natural shift that's happening. And they knew it was coming because it was been prophesied about in all these different cultures. So I feel like that was the first step towards them trying to capture consciousness. Right?
Oh, look at that.
What I missed?
Right there.
Oh, the bird confirmation.
Yeah.
So that's basically where we're at, man. Is we just want to. We feel like we've been called to share our knowledge at this great time of shift, of monumental shift, and kind of clue the people in who are hungry for pieces of bread and don't have the time to search for breadcrumbs.
Absolutely.
And give you a whole loaf every episode. So,
yeah, it's gonna be a lot to digest. You know, like I said, don't take our word for it. We'll provide links for all the stuff that we talk about as much as possible. I mean, these are just places you can go and start reading into things. A lot of it's going to require you to take some time to go digging and searching for yourself, and then ask yourself, like, does this make sense? Is it possible? There's a possible and then there's a plausible, right? I don't know what plausible exactly means, but I'd look it up if I was you.
A different level of possible, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Plausible would be like, it's
not
I think
likely?
it's on the positive side of possible, right? Because plausible means like it would make sense that this would happen. It's
Gotcha.
kind of like it. So yeah, that would happen because of these forces that are involved in the equation.
If this happened, then that happened, then I could see how this could happen too. So yeah, then by definition, then this should happen because all these other things happen. And so it's just about doing math. It's like calculus in a way. If you really think about it, all these different factors, right? All these different energetic things that are happening, and they're just forecasts. They're just if this then that. By definition, like if the Fed increases interest rates, then money's more hard to come by. It's a cause and effect. If the Fed decreases interest rates, more money is accessible. Cause and effect, right? So, like, again, don't just take our word for it.
Well, take my word for it. Everything is circles. Everything is circles. Look it up.
It's not an easy path. There's a lot of just things that we have to acknowledge. Like I said earlier, calling a duck for a duck and not waiting for it to quack. You know, and just knowing that there are alternatives, but we need to have our hearts and our minds open to different viewpoints and not attack each other and in that process, because not everyone does see the world the same way that you do, and maybe some people do know things that maybe you don't, and that's okay too. We're all here to learn. I learn a lot from Brandon from P every day.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, it's just about open-mindedness, right? Like, we know we're being lied to, right? It's pretty obvious at this point, and just be open to people who have possible solutions and also just have information, and don't take everything that we say as gospel. Like, we're going to provide you with links and ways to find this information on your own. For yourself. You can research, you can fact check us, 100%, because we're not going to bring you anything that we feel is bullshit.
Right.
We've been in these rabbit holes.
And if we're wrong, we'll come out, we'll validate and say, hey, you know what, we'll do our research and go back again, and if you're right, we're wrong, we'll say we're wrong.
And
I have no problem.
That's the solution I want to provide, is being somebody that's been in these conspiracy circles where it's just like they keep running you in circles. It's the tail's wagging the dog, and you don't know what's the truth. You just know that what you're told isn't the truth. So then you become so
Paranoid.
sucked in, you not just paranoid, but then you become sucked into this alternative universe of truth that's been presented to you that may not necessarily be the truth. And your mind gets captured in another fucking ideology, in another rabbit hole that's a separate wing. It's a Matrix-sponsored version of the truth.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's how I like to think of it. It's the Matrix-sponsored version of the truth. And we just want to come and bring you unadulterated truth that we have found in our lives, that we have experienced. We've been blessed enough that the divine has given us this mission to kind of just present this to you guys. Like, it's time that a lot of these secrets
I would even go as far as saying, I would even go as far as saying, don't take the red pill, don't take the blue pill, take the purple pill.
That's a great way to say it, bro. I love that.
Yeah, take the purple pill.
Purple pill. Maybe that's what we call this episode. This is the purple pill.
This is the purple pill.
Take the purple pill.